I'm Gab, he's Jules. Grey skies over West London. It's okay because we had nice weather for a good amount of time. Grayer skies still over Arsenal. Another 2 points dropped, and we'll get to the title race. We've got a lot of stuff to talk about. Obviously, Juventus absolutely humiliated. Real Madrid sneaked to the top of La Liga table for now. Joint level with Barcelona, of course, didn't play. Bayern Munich, Bayer Leverkusen losing. All these teams in the Champions League, except for Real Madrid, generally finding it really hard, arguably even Real Madrid. But anyway, let's get into what traditionally should have been one of the biggest games, bringing back memories of Wenger versus Fergie, Patrick Vieira in the tunnel, first picking on little Gary Neville, and then Roy Keane gets in his face, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. And Ruud van Nistelrooy and like Monkey's Head getting into it, Martin Keown. All this stuff. And then you see this version today of these two teams. And I don't want to pick on Arsenal. Finished 1-1. Because they've got a lot of mitigating circumstances, a lot of guys injured. United, even more players injured. I think Rasmus Hojlund was the only only person of legal drinking age on the bench.
Yeah.
However, this is not a good game.
No.
It finished 1-1. It does have implications because the gap is now 15 points. And yes, Arsenal have a game in hand and they'll win that. And then they'll win at Anfield, maybe for this to happen. But then they would still need to make up 9 points in 6 games. And based on the Marcotti rule, that's not possible.
It's not going to happen now. I mean, I think we all know it. And Arsenal players or manager can still say, no, until the end, we will fight. It's good that they fight until the end and then they try to get as many points as possible. But they're never going to catch them. So
now, I had to ask about this because he obviously, like, it's part of the job. He knows it. He's a grown-up.
Of course, they have to say that.
But he gets asked the question. And eventually, though, you ask him the question so many times and the question of the striker, and he kind of glitches and says, all right, enough. Which he did in post-match. Is there anything to read into that?
No, they asked Declan Rice as well, and he said, no, until the end, we will
but
fight.
Declan Rice didn't walk out of the interview.
No, but
Mikel Arteta did.
Yeah, because I think there's a point where the answer is everybody knows that Liverpool have won the title. You just can't say it because mathematically it's not done. And as an Arsenal point of view, you need to try until the end to get as many points as you can. But there's just a limited amount of time you can repeat it.
Was that what annoyed him or the striker question?
No. I mean, the striker question. There's no point asking questions now when the windows is closed anyway. I don't understand why you keep asking.
Because you want him to say, "Yeah, we as a club made a mistake."
But I mean, again,
it's part of our job to ask the questions, right?
Yeah. But why asking the question again now?
So he can say, "We made a mistake. We'll do better next time."
But no, because they don't believe they made a mistake. Kai Havertz
they still don't believe they made a mistake.
But no, Kai Havertz was not injured when the window closed. He got injured. He could not have played every single minute of every single game. But if he doesn't get injured, he still plays most of the minutes. And then you find another way when you want to rest him.
Yeah.
So Watkins was the one they wanted. Could not happen because John Duran went to Al Nassr. And that was it. They didn't have any other players that they wanted.
Which was a mistake. And honestly, if they do not recognize that this was a mistake, this is not a mistake in terms of covering your bases, then I can't help you. I think maybe they don't want to say it's a mistake.
But they don't want people to help them. I don't know why you want to help them. They don't want anybody to help them. It's just a choice they made. They didn't think, they wanted Watkins or nobody. They could not get Watkins. They signed nobody.
So they made an internal mistake. I'm sorry.
I don't think so.
Okay, I do because...
But that's what you think. They don't think like that. So you think like that.
So they think wrongly in this case, in my view.
But in your view, this is not their view.
No,
so,
that's fine. But we're doing analysis and opinion. My analysis is they might not be in this position if they said we have some basic insurance because people go through the season, right? Why is Jakub Kivior at the club when you have Saliba and Gabriel so much better? Because somebody might get injured, blah, blah, right? In the center forward position. And look, this is not about Kai Havertz not being a 40 goal a season goal scorer. You know my thoughts on Kai Havertz. I think he's fantastic. I think he's phenomenal, right? But to go into a season in these circumstances, and I'm not just hammering them because they're Arsenal. I've hammered Chelsea for the same reason, right? How you would not have an alternative, even a cheap alternative. There's so many players who went on loan in January, just a body to have in certain situations, right? And I actually believe, no matter what they say, that internally they said, all right, we need to revisit this, how we build our squad for the future and learn from it. I don't need him to come out and...
I mean, they'll have a new sporting director, so they will have a new direction that they take with the new sporting director. Right. But in that case, they just thought they had enough. if they could not sign Watkins.
So much time on Arsenal because Mikel Merino again laid a turd and in a position that is not his own, in which he wasn't even really playing during the game. But we're going to talk Manchester United. Bruno Fernandes goal. There you go. Happens all the time.
Yeah.
And we'll break this game down further on the Gab and Joe's podcast. All right. So first half, I think Arsenal clearly dominant every area of the pitch. Maybe didn't create as many chances because there was a big void up front where Mikel Merino should have been. And again, I don't blame him, but it is what it is. But I want to take it forward to Bruno Fernandes free kick. And Ruben Amorim said after the game, we need more Bruno Fernandes. Yeah, can you imagine 10 of them running around the pitch? I don't want to bring it back to just one player because obviously these guys were injured. But yes, he's, to quote Rob Van Dam, he's the whole effing show.
He makes a difference on his own, yeah.
And he does it, and he takes a free kick. And in this country, they made such a big deal out of the fact that the free kick was further away than it should have been. The wall, sorry. And the idea being, obviously, if the wall is further away, then it's actually easier. I mean, you don't want the wall... If the wall, it actually becomes easier to go and put the ball over the wall because just the angle at which you strike the ball, right? And it was because it was so far away. You also had a bunch of people in the way, and Onana doesn't see the ball. Sorry, not Onana. Raya doesn't see the ball leave. All right, is this a thing? This distance with the wall because they're like, "Ooh, it's 11.2 yards." I saw on my television.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people didn't even know what people. I think a lot of people don't even know what the distance should be.
It's 9 meters and 15 centimeters or 10 yards.
Exactly. And to be fair, I think a lot of rules I think the referees not on purpose, but it's difficult for the referee with the steps to obviously, they can't measure a yard or a meter every step. But often...
We should get chains like in the NFL.
Yeah, exactly.
Like bring guys in to...
That's very true. So I think very often the wall is a bit further out than 10 yards. In this case, the ball literally brushes over the head of Merino, who's in the wall. So you would think that if the wall had been at the right distance of 10 yards, then the ball would have hit Merino's face, obviously. Or his
Merino,
body.
who has the vertical leap of a rock.
Yeah, but being 11 yards behind the ball, it's just the ball brushes past his head. So if he's 10 yards, the ball hits him 100%. Right. But I still don't think that... If the ball is closer, I think Bruno can also lift the ball over the wall. He adjusts his strike for where the wall is.
He just doesn't hit it as hard, though. I think that would be the argument.
Yeah,
right?
I'm not sure. But when you hit a free kick like this, you target the top of the head of the wall always. That's how you take those free kicks at that level.
I didn't take free kicks, so I
No, but that's why they do it. So he would have done it if they had been at 10 yards, 9 yards, 11 yards, 12 yards. I don't think for him would change much.
Well, no, it would change because you can't hit the ball as hard, right?
It's easier if it's 11 yards than 10 yards.
Harder, yeah. But for me, with the distance thing, unless you bring data and show that actually most of the time in the Premier League, the wall is between 9.8 and 10.2 yards, and this is 11.2, so it's a significant change. Unless you have this information, and there might be some nerd out there who collects this, I don't know. Yeah. Certainly no media does. You can't just introduce a number and it looks like a big number. Because like you said, it's referees, it's difficult for them to do and get it exact, right? Yeah. And at least I'm old enough to remember before the spray came in that it was basically, you see these ridiculous situations where, they would line them up.
The wall would move
and then the minute the referee moves, we were taught to do that when we played, right? You just start walking forward. And the referee can't be bothered to make you go back. And his perspective, he's got all other things to do. So, and look, if in the end this means more goals, who cares? That isn't this supposedly what we want? I'm less concerned with that. After the break, I thought Arsenal's level really dropped. Yeah. They could have still won it with Odegaard.
Yeah.
I wonder a little bit the way Declan Rice celebrates after scoring.
Yeah.
Did he get confused about the score, you think? Or
I don't know. I don't.
I'm like, what are you celebrating, dude?
Well, when he's shushing the crowd and tell them to calm down. I don't know.
I don't know. What are you doing?
It was such a great goal that maybe he just, because it's such a lovely strike and lovely goal and you come back. And I guess at that point, Arsenal think, okay, we're going to go and win this now. Because they had the momentum suddenly, although the end is a bit crazy. and both teams could have won it. I think he got maybe a little bit carried away with the celebrations.
I am not a David Raya guy, but I will hold my hand up because when facts change, opinions change. I think he's really, really good, and I think he's played really, really well. I think he saved Arsenal on multiple occasions this season, and he certainly saved them a point in this one. The Mazraoui save, the way he got up so quickly was that weird deflected Bruno shot, which then hit the crossbar and then came, or actually it was, hit the crossbar and then started coming back in. I'd be concerned at conceding so many chances because if you watch, it's not a case of Arsenal saying, all right, 1 point is pointless, there's no purpose to it, let's all go forward, and them getting caught out. It just really looked like a dip in level. It looked like they started getting sloppy.
A bit of sloppiness, maybe a bit of tiredness as well. I don't know. But United also played in midweek. Actually, United had
2 days.
Thursday, 2 days less to recover for this game. Their press was inefficient in the second half, especially like the Mazraoui goal. It's really lovely build-up from United, Zirkzee, the 2 wing-backs, but Arsenal are just cut open by something quite simple. It's nicely done by United, but it's still quite, the movement and the triangles are quite simple, and yet Arsenal are cut open, literally, and Mazraoui should score. But defensively, they keep conceding goals all the time. They had a clean sheet against Forest, but before that they conceded against PSV, against West Ham, again in this game. So defensively, it's not as strong as it used to be.
Against PSV, that's down to one person, Thomas Partey being stupid. So
but they also conceded chances. Saibari at 0-0 should have scored every day. So there's defensively, they're certainly not as strong as they used to be, and same on set pieces. They're not as strong as they used to be, and they're not as efficient as they used to be on set pieces too.
Let's talk United. Once again, we're looking for signs of progress. And does it... All right. So he made the Zirkzee instead of Hojlund call. A completely different profile. Hojlund came on, again, showed he is not the most clinical of strikers on several occasions. But again, maybe it can be nerves, confidence, whatever it is, right? Hojlund really was the only guy they had on the bench. It was Hojlund and Lindelof, right? In that second half, when you got Eriksen, Casemiro, and Lindelof on the bench, right? 2 guys who are...
On the pitch.
2 guys who are leaving. Another guy who you would wish would leave, but is still there.
Yeah.
Just even getting players to follow instructions and execute, it's just got to be difficult, right?
Yeah.
Can we give them a little pass for that?
Yeah, it's not ideal. But again, they played in a very defensive way, without the ball a lot.
That's when they're at their best under Amorim.
Exactly. And he said, to be fair, the credit to Amorim is he said after the game, we can't play like this. This is not Manchester United, especially at Old Trafford. And I think he knows. Right now, they just do with, because in those games against City, against Liverpool, against Arsenal, where they got a win and 2 draws in 2025. This is pretty good in itself. That's the only way they can play. If they try to play differently, they're going to get battered by those 3 teams. So they play quite low, quite defensively, 30% of the ball, which for a United team at Old Trafford is pretty bad. But this is all they can do right now, I think. So it kind of worked. It could have worked better. The Hojlund chance right at the end, the Rice tackle. The Rice tackle is wonderful, of course it is. But you see Hojlund on confidence, or any striker in confidence, just buries that chance. Instead, he's waiting, and it's too late, and he waits too long.
I want to go back to Zirkzee a minute. He's obviously, we've said many times, an unorthodox striker. Is he winning you over? Are you starting to maybe think that maybe his future is not just at United, but at United up front? If you get enough goals from the number 10 position, rather than a 10?
That's it.
You think it's center forward, it's not number 10?
No, I think he can play both, depending on who is the 10, who's the 9 that can play with him, that he can play behind. Hojlund, I don't think is the answer, because I just don't think he's good enough right now. But if they get another 9, I think Zirkzee can easily play behind 9. But if you play him as the 9, and you get the right players behind him, then that's great.
So a dynamic goal-scoring 10 like Christian Eriksen?
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
That's perfect combination. But no, and we have been big fans because we've seen Bologna more than anybody else probably in this country, or more than a lot of people. For the likes of Mark Ogden, who don't like him, who it's true, diss him all the time. There's a great player there. If you play on his strength, it's always the same. But right now, United can't really play on his strength because they don't have an attacking structure put together yet. When they do that, I think it could be very good for them.
I think the difficult thing is, I agree, he can be a great player when they play on the strengths. The question is, can he be a great enough player that you build a team to play around his strengths?
True.
That's the question mark, right?
Yeah.
Zirkzee throughout his career has basically had 2 good seasons when the team was playing to his strengths.
Yeah.
The rest of the time, he's been subpar. And maybe it is because he's so unusual. I do feel, though, that next season, if Amad Diallo returns, if you have a rotation at number 10 of Bruno, because I just do not want to see him in front of the back four, of Bruno, Diallo, and Zirkzee, and then obviously you need a center forward, and maybe it's Hojlund and somebody else. I think that's okay. I'm all right with that. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Then the real issue becomes whatever happens in front of the back four. I foolishly perhaps believe that Garton may know there's a structure there. No, I think you need multiple bodies in there. But come on, United fans, you're well placed in the Europa League, right?
Yeah, well, they're going to finish the job against Real Sociedad on Thursday, so they should. Real Sociedad were terrible at the weekend too, and then after that they could face Lyon in the quarterfinal, which would be really, really interesting game. The problem is always the same, Gabby, is that if they're set up to defend more than attack, to have less of the ball than the opponent, they can go along because they've got enough individual quality.
But if they meet a defensive counter-attacking team,
they will struggle.
Then they're gonna be in trouble.